The Saints destroyed the defending Super Bowl champs and are starting to look like a favorite to reach this year's big game. Plus, Nicholls' win over Southeastern clinches a conference title for the Colonels, and Tim Rebowe did it with players from South Louisiana. LSU's offense opens up against Rice. Tulane is still one win short of a bowl berth, and the Pelicans go 3-1 this week, but lose their starting point guard again. In the last two games against Cincinnati and now Philadelphia, the Saints have taken a major step forward. They are dominating in all phases. I'm Doug Mouton. Welcome to 4th Down on 4. So our question tonight, are you sold? Will the Saints represent the NFC in Super Bowl 53? It's a simple yes or no. Vote now on our mobile app or our website at WWLTV.com. Results will be coming a little later in the show. Ricardo LeCompte will kick us off tonight with a breakout star from the Superdome, wideout Traquan Smith.
Drew Brees has leaned on both Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara this season in the passing game, both the top two pass catchers for the black and gold coming into Sunday's contest. But the Eagles weren't going to let those two go off. Thomas saw double coverage all game, and Kamara had just one catch, albeit for a touchdown.
Go for it, Kamara down the sideline, what a throw!
Philly dared other Saints receivers to beat them. Traquan Smith rose to the challenge. He was number 9's top target against the Eagles, 13 of them. The rookie with the team-high 10 receptions for $157 and a score.
I just know when the ball comes my way, and I may not get the opportunity again, so I do the best of my ability to make the play, and it comes with, trusting each other, Drew trusting me.
Austin Carr caught his first touchdown of his career. And Keith Kirkwood continued to build on his debut against the Bengals last week with 3 catches for 33 yards this week.
I prepared every single week like if my opportunity was supposed to arise, and it had last week. I made up, I came, did what I had to do, made plays. Same thing this week, came up and did what I had to do.
Those receivers not an afterthought on Sunday.
I'm proud of them. I knew what they had, knew what they were capable of. With young guys, you have to, sometimes with coaches and stuff, they have to see, they have to give you a little bit, see how much you can handle, and then give them more. And I feel like, they did their job and did what they had to do and handled their business.
The Saints felt adding a second receiver was a priority, and they thought Dez Bryant was going to be a fine choice, but he went down with an Achilles tear. Then earlier this week, Brandon Marshall was added to the mix, but he's not quite ready to make an impact just yet. So New Orleans has to rely on these receivers that have been here since training camp, and Sunday, they showed they can be reliable.
You got to know your job is at risk because, if you mess up, you got a veteran right there trying to take your job. But I know if I do what I got to do week in and week out, I'm at a good place.
We're a great group. We're a close group. You can definitely see that on the field. If Mike's getting covered, Drew has somewhere else to go with the ball. So I think we're all ready, and when our time was called, we came and performed.
They did perform, giving the highest scoring offense in the league even more juice. At the Superdome, Ricardo LeCompte, 4th Down on 4.
Drew Brees had his third game this season with a quarterback rating over 150. He's only done that 8 times in his entire career. He's done it 3 times this year. And then this stat from our good friend Mike Detillier at WWL Radio. This year, so far through 10 games, the Saints have scored 378 points, which is better than 09 or 11. Remember, this was a Super Bowl year. This was a year the Saints were good enough to get there. But Drew Brees and company are having the best offensive output to this point in the season that they've ever had. Now, Andrew Doak has the story of the Superdome Smackdown Sunday.
It was the largest margin of victory by any NFL team over a defending Super Bowl champion. The Saints have now won 9 games in a row. The last time a 9-game win streak happened in New Orleans, it was a special season in 2009. Sean Payton, who is normally reserved and never likes to count his chickens before they hatch, even had to smirk after this one.
I didn't say we weren't pretty good. We're 9-1 right now, and we've got a lot of season left, so I'm not downplaying what we've done. Those guys are in there playing the music loud, and you want me to smile more, I'll smile more.
It was obvious from the start that the Eagles wanted to take Michael Thomas out of the game. They doubled him constantly and challenged Brees to find other options. Through their first 3 drives, Thomas only had 1 target that went for 30 yards. But the Eagles quickly found out that if you take away one, another will take off. Traquan Smith became an elite target for the Saints on Sunday. It turns out that when New Orleans decided to bring in players like Dez Bryant or Brandon Marshall, who actually shares the same alma mater as Smith, it can inspire players to raise their own level of play.
Brandon Marshall, he talked to me the other day. You know, he just built more confidence in myself. He said, "You're here for a reason. You're a great receiver. I watched you in college, you know," and that means a lot. You know, coming from people who've been in the league years, veterans who know what they're doing, who had great years.
Before the end of the half, the Saints had a 17-3 lead. That's when Brees made 2 of his best throws all season. Number 9 threaded the needle to Thomas down the sideline for a pickup of 30 yards to put the Saints in scoring position. And 4 plays later, he made another tight window throw to Smith that couldn't have been thrown better. And it gave New Orleans a 24-7 halftime lead.
If a team is bound and determined to take certain guys away, then we've got answers. Right? We got answers. We got guys who can win. And that's what good football teams do.
The Saints offense continued to roll from there on out and is now on a historic pace. They've scored 99 points in the past 2 weeks, which is the most in back-to-back games in franchise history. But that's just the half of it.
The Saints have scored on more than 60% of their offensive possessions this season, and Sunday against the Eagles, they scored 40 or more points for the 6th time this year. That's tied for the most in NFL history since the merger.
And the Saints still have 6 regular season games to go.
Yeah, that's a lot of points, but we have a high standard for ourselves.
First and foremost, the O-line, you know what I'm saying? That credit all to them, but, you know, between me and Mark, I mean, we just been talking about it, getting back rolling.
And roll this offense did. For the 2nd consecutive game, Mark Ingram rushed for more than 100 yards, and the Eagles could only hold Mike Thomas down for so long. To open the second half, Brees hit Thomas perfectly right near the pylon for a 23-yard score to send the lead out of hand 31-7, and it all started up front. The Saints O-line kept Brees clean all day. He was only hit once, but that was far from the day that Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz had. The Saints defense kept Wentz under duress all afternoon. They had 5 hits on Wentz, plus 3 sacks, and the Saints front 7 contributed 7 tackles for loss.
Each guy has the confidence of a starter. I think each guy goes out there with the mentality that they're the guy and they're going to go out there and make big-time plays.
If your number's cold, you know, when you get in there, you just got to fight. And at the end of the day, you got a bunch of guys who are fighting to stick together, and we're going to fight to keep doing that.
Plus, Marshawn Lattimore was back to his normal dominant self. He made a fantastic interception early in the game, his first of the season, and he only allowed 2 catches all game long while he shadowed Alshon Jeffrey. And for a Saints secondary that was reeling, this was their best performance yet. The Saints keep topping their own performances week by week now, and right now, they look like a freight train headed for February. From the Superdome, Andrew Doak, 4th Down on 4.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. And more good news across the South. The Saints won. Everybody else in the division lost. So the Saints now have a 3-game lead on the Panthers right now with just 6 to go. If the season ended today, Carolina would be a wild card team. The Saints would get a bye in the first round of the playoffs with a great shot to be the #1 seed in the NFC. All right, back to the Superdome. Andrew has analysis from one of the best who covers the Saints.
Joined by Mike Neighbors of Cox Sports Television, the Saints winners of 9 straight games right now. It's hard to find the analogies to just look at how dominant the Saints are right now. I mean, it's like they're not beating teams. They're dominating them. They're taking their lunch money, and they're just kicking them to the curb. I mean, how do you describe how the Saints are playing right now?
This was supposed to be the tough part of their schedule, right? This was the part of the 5-game stretch you thought maybe 3-2, that would be good. Well, they win all of them, and they keep winning, and it's more and more impressive. You know, Drew Brees said a week ago in Cincinnati, this was our most complete game, but he admitted after this game it was a little bit better. And for Drew Brees, the guy who's going to, you know, look at every incompletion and pick on every little thing, the fact that he's giving this team high praise and saying they're getting better every week, that says a lot to him.
And this Eagles team had lost a lot of close games coming into this one. This one was not close at all. I mean, it was almost decided at halftime. When you look at Drew Brees and his efficiency this year, I mean, he's leading the NFL well in passer rating. And I'm not for career longevity achievement awards. But Drew Brees and Patrick Mahomes are the only two people, in my opinion, that are in the MVP race right now. How would you stack them, and how would you stack the year that Drew Brees is having?
You know, it's really amazing that he keeps breaking his own records in terms of accuracy. I mean, you look at the Keith Kirkwoods. I mean, all the wide receivers he's finding. We have played the story about Des Bryant and Brandon Marshall, but those guys, you know, it seems like they don't even need them right now. He works with what he has. And at the beginning of the season, I mean, it was all Michael Thomas. It was amazing what he was doing. But now they're sharing the load, and they're seeing how this offense can work. It's really vintage Drew Brees. I mean, back in the heyday in 09 and 10 and 11, he was finding guys all over the football field. But I think personally, and he won't admit this, he's seeing the field better than he ever has. And that should equate to an MVP if he can keep going.
Right now, it feels like one of those seasons that was really significant in Saints history right now. Let's jump to the defense. They were unbelievable these last 2 weeks, particularly today against that offense. I know the Eagles' offensive line was beat up front, but the Saints' front seven, that might be the most dominant I've seen them since I can remember.
And Marcus Davenport should return in the coming weeks. That's going to only make this defense better. Yeah, I mean, for years, I mean, Saints fans have been saying it, the media's been saying it, you got to get help for Cam Jordan. Well, now he's got plenty of help. He's got Shelton Rankins, who might be the most underrated player on this defense, maybe on this team so far. 6 sacks, that's a career high. And Okafor, what a great story. I mean, coming off the Achilles injury, you weren't sure if he could even play, and he's thrived. Another sack, here this afternoon. So I just think the defense not only is getting better, but it's complementary defense. I mean, I was surprised. Marshawn Lattimore's first interception of the year. I mean, they're getting interceptions, they're causing turnovers, and that's what they did back in 09. You're seeing a lot of similarities between that 09 team. I think the defense was better in 09, but this defense keeps getting better.
And you got to have those front seven be good to be able to help out the back end like they were today. Mike Neighbors of Cox Sports Television, great analysis as always. We'll send it back to you.
Coming up, we'll head to Thibodaux, where Nicholls dominated Southeastern in the regular season finale. And thanks to a bunch of local players, are now conference champions with a playoff berth. Plus, Joe Burrow has his biggest day as a Tiger as LSU trounced Rice in Baton Rouge. Tulane falls to Houston, leaving just one more game to clinch a bowl berth. And later, how the Pelicans are winning without starting point guard Elfrid Payton.
Fourth Down on 4 is sponsored.
Nicholls will host a first-round NCAA tournament game for the second year in a row, and the Colonels say this year they're not happy just getting there. But to get there, Nicholls needed a win Thursday night over Southeastern, and they left no doubt in Thibodaux. With an NCAA tournament berth and a conference championship on the line, Nicholls State simply ran over Southeastern Thursday night. They rushed for 358 yards as a team and 5 touchdowns. On the game's final play, the Colonels stopped Southeastern's Jariah Tolbert inside the 10-yard line to complete the shutout, and the Colonels made the break to grab the Riverbell Classic trophy, which this year also comes with a Southland Conference championship. This is fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an indescribable feeling. This is amazing. We preached that back at Rummel. You know, we always want to play Thanksgiving week, but, you know, we're doing it now, so we're happy. You know, we're happy for this conference title, and just we're just happy with the win.
We had a plan, but we had some players come in our first year and our second year. They didn't know if it was going to work or not, and they trusted the coaching staff, and they came in here, good players. They worked their butt off, not be denied. We had some goals. They set them. And, man, I tell you what, I'm so happy for them.
The turning point for Nicholls came in their 7th game. They laid an egg, scored just 12 points in a bad loss on the road at Abilene Christian. That meant they could not lose again if they wanted to get back to the NCAA tournament. And they finished the season with 4 straight wins, with Tim Rebo's offense scoring more than 40 points in each game. And it's the way Tim Rebo has built this team that is really special. Rebo is from Destrehan. His first coaching job was at Destrehan High. He's coached for 30 years, but never outside the state of Louisiana. And he used those local contacts to build an almost completely South Louisiana roster that is now headed to the NCAA tournament for the 2nd straight year.
The coach before, Coach Rebo, didn't recruit the River Parish at all. And didn't know why, because I know they had players like Lutcher could have definitely played here and didn't even receive a scholarship. So when you put us into a program like this, we're winners. So this is what's going to happen.
Might be an inch short, might be a step slow, but good football players, and they all up and down this river in New Orleans and Baton Rouge. I mean, and they're looking for a place to play.
Tim Rebow and the Colonels drew a tough draw in round one. They'll host the San Diego Toreros, winners of 8 straight. But Nicholls has been here before. Being there once will make a difference.
I think it does make a difference. Our guys know what to expect now. I thought we played well last year. We came up a little bit short.
I think we're ready, man. I think everything is clicking for us right now, man. We got the fans, we got everybody showing love and support, and we working, man, and we hungry.
Last year was just getting there, but this year we're going to make a run for sure.
They hope to begin that run Saturday at 3 o'clock in John L. Guidry Stadium in Thibodaux. Meanwhile, LSU took care of business Saturday night in Tiger Stadium. They're now 1 win away from a 10-win regular season, which few predicted at the beginning of the season. They'll play at Texas A&M Saturday night with a New Year's 6 bowl game on the line and coming off a blowout of Rice.
On play action, pocket holds up, deep throw into single coverage.
Against the Owls, LSU opened up the offense. Joe Burrow threw for a career-high 307 yards. He hit 8 different receivers. Burrow completed 71% of his passes. He was 20 of 28, a nice confidence builder as LSU accomplished everything offensively they hoped to.
Run the ball, play action pass, deep passes. I think we did a good job of it. Protect the quarterback. We did a pretty good job of it.
Blitz up the middle, the throw over the middle tomorrow.
552 yards of offense. I thought our offense did very well tonight. I was pleased to see it play.
Orgeron said it was important to him to play all of his seniors and all of the guys who have patiently waited their turn, like St. Aug's Leonard Fournette, who got the ball 9 times, gained 55 yards, and scored a touchdown.
He has not complained one time. There have been some games where he probably should have got more carries or probably should have gotten more of an opportunity. He's done very well. He's waited his turn. I can't say enough about him.
The win sets up a big one Saturday night at A&M, and Ed Orgeron knows it.
We're 9-2. We're proud of this football team. We've got a big week ahead of us, a big week of preparation to finish the season strong. That's going to be an outstanding challenge for our football team, but I know we're going to be ready for it.
The Tigers and the Aggies kick off at 6:30 Saturday night in College Station.
He is thriving.
Tulane, meanwhile, plays for bowl eligibility Saturday against Navy. The Green Wave had a shot to get there Thursday night in Houston, but they got run over by the Cougars, 48-17. Tulane fell to 5-6, but a win against Navy gets the Wave to a bowl, and they can do it at home. They kick off at 11 a.m. Saturday at Yeoman Stadium. Still ahead, the Pelicans are back over 500 and learning how to win without injured point guard Elfrid Payton. That story when we come back. The Pelicans got starting point guard Elfrid Payton back Friday night for exactly 8 minutes until he broke the pinky on his left hand. He now needs surgery and is out an undetermined amount of time. But despite losing Payton, the Pelicans won twice.
On AD for the lob. Yes! 3-point game.
Both Friday night against the Knicks and Saturday night against Denver, the difference was Anthony Davis. With no Payton, the Pelicans went big a lot, and Davis was unstoppable with 83 points in those 2 games.
He's really locked in and was attacking the basket, doing a good job. I thought he was also trying to find guys, since they were collapsing on him so much. I thought he did a good job of really trying to create double teams and kick it.
It's pretty hard to stop, especially when he gets in the groove like that where, we don't think anybody can guard him in the first place, but when you try to switch one person to the next person onto him, and he's getting whatever he wants.
And Drew Holiday is back to being the primary point guard. He had 18 assists in the 2 wins, but Davis had 13 assists in those 2 games too. And getting everyone involved, distributing, is the key. until Alfred Payton returns.
Just to be able to get everybody touches, for everybody to share energy and score pretty evenly across the line, except for Anthony. That's good with me.
It's still going to be a work in progress because, we thought we had him back, and that's how we kind of based our team around. But, we'll have to change some things up. But, overall, I think the way we play tonight is the way we're going to have to try to approach it.
And they've done a nice job with it. The Pelicans have won 5 of their last 6, and they play 4 times this week. Monday at home against San Antonio, then 3 on the road. Wednesday at Philadelphia, Friday at New York, Saturday at Washington. We're back with more 4th Down on 4 in a minute. Our 4th Down on 4 poll question, we talked about this question last week, but after crushing the Eagles, we had to ask it this week, and this is really the results we expected. 96% of Saints fans now believe this team is February bound, and I don't know how you would not say that. The last 2 weeks, the Saints have been unreal, with Atlanta coming up on Thanksgiving night. For producer Danny Rockwell, photographer Adam Ney, Ricardo LeCompte, Andrew Doak, and all of us here at Eyewitness Sports, I'm Doug Mouton. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on 4th Down on 4.
Fourth Down on 4 has been sponsored by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Gulf Coast.